Guys, never commit to a breeding. Never, ever, 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 ever commit to a breeding. Now, here's the thing. Because we breed with the intent to better our dogs, I'm not super concerned about the breed, if I'm being honest. Especially since we're in cahoots with building our own. I'm not committed to any breeding. So, you've heard me say before that Eagle only has one breeding. Well, we bred technically Maya for the purposes of trying to learn. Can't she actually be bred, scientifically speaking, would the pups be healthier? Because we had 4 who had cleft palates and cleft lips, and it was awful to see that whole lip separated in our first breeding. And 2 that lived, and even Nala, who we really like, has a hooded vulva. Now you say, where does all this come from? I tell you, it's not enough information out there to tell you exactly where all these problems come from. But the more we know, the better we can be. So I'm going to walk you through what our breedings mean to us, how we choose who we're going to breed. And Eagle now, it's 3 breedings on the table now, and we don't have a choice. So here's what's happened. When people see a breeding, they say, man, who's that girl going to? And you base a lot of your breeding off of this male, and this male and what he's going to do. But let me be very clear reading this line right here. Molecular genetics, genetic analysis, which only take mitochondrial DNA into account, cannot detect the influence of male wolves. Maternal lines can be traced back, however, as the genetic information is not diluted. Most dogs take on their mother's characteristics. They do. If you're a good human being, a lot of times you probably had a compassionate mother. And this is why a 2-parent household is so important. A male comes in and he demands structure, respect. And you know, if dad comes home, he's going to whoop your mom. She's going to be like, you know, good cop, bad cop. But every now and then the roles shift and mom's the terrorist and terrorizes you versus dad being the person who shows you the love you need. And mind you, you need compassion for both parents so that you can grow up to be a well-balanced human being. But in the dog space and objectively when breeding, I like to bet on our females. And our females in this case, it's never about our boys, if I'm being honest. Well, not even being honest, I'm always going to be honest. Let me just be clear. I could give 2 flying F's about these boys in relation to these breedings. Who she becomes, who she becomes, who she becomes, and all of them, who they become, that's what determines if our program even can move forward. If Cha-Cha don't pass the test, we wrote off Bam Bam. There's no Bam Bam. He's not being bred in our program, and nobody else's, to be clear. Cha-Cha's coming along. I'm seeing the things that I like. I'm learning to trust her. She definitely has some drive, and we're just now in our first year. She probably won't be bred till she's 3 or 4. We're in no rush because it takes time to get it right. It takes a lot of time to get it right. Nala, on the other hand, Jamarcus has done a good job. And let me be very clear. Had he ruined the dog, she would have never been bred. Not in my house. She'd have been bred where he could do whatever he want. I'll give him his paperwork and send him on his way. So the other thing is I don't hold the opportunity to breed hostage for those people who are in affiliation or associated with me. The challenge is now when you start at the pinnacle. And the pinnacle in this case is, I'm not talking about us being the top of the dog game, selling the best dogs in the world. I'm talking about us making sure every day we bring the most value. You go from a high valued kennel program to now you got to go deal with everybody else. And that doesn't mean people are less than. But if you were with me 7 days a week for 4 years straight, damn near, and you got to see what I do for my dogs, what my dogs can do, and the impact of the dogs on me and my impact on them, it'd be very hard for you just to go do a breeding if you left my purview just because you wanted to breed. It'd be the conversation is not the same, period. And I could say that confidently. You leave my house to go breed with somebody else, if you're in my program or you start with us, you've dropped 30,000 feet. That's the gist of it. because I have a plan for you. I'm going to get you where you need to be. I'm going to make sure you're of value. I'm going to make sure every breeding matters to you. I'm going to make sure you get the boy you want, the girl you need. And we're going to take our time. We're going to love every day, every step of the way. So you can't leave and go talk to him. Hey man, I got this dog over here. I got that heat, man. Let's do a breeding real quick. That would make me sick. And we don't do that here. So when breeding, I'm not committed to any breeding. I only wanted to breed Ego, to be clear. One time, if I'm being honest. But because I was intrigued by our females and the challenges that we faced over the first 2 years, seeing beyond a reasonable doubt that Maya has the bulldog look. She's got more of a bulldog in her, and Zara has more of the terrier style. Again, when you're saying American bully, you're just talking about a dog bigger than a pit bull realistically, who's got a little bit bigger head, heavier in weight, because the pit bull, as we've said, has 150 years of history. So beyond a reasonable doubt, in a court of law, you can find out very quickly if your dog is a pit bull or if it's not. Because that dog, a male dog, a pit bull, is only 65 pounds. Once you get over that, you're not talking about a pit bull. I'm sorry. And the people who are enthusiasts, they'll ruin it. They're like, hey, get that dog out. That ain't no pit bull. It means something to them. There's integrity there and an affinity for the breed. So, Nala and Amira, big year for them next year. Big year for us next year. And every pup that we keep is 2 years of work. Now, I was at one time, Amira was going to go what? She was potentially going to go to Tron. I did a video why she's not going to Tron. She was going to go to Bam Bam. I'm not even going to talk about why she's not going to Bam Bam, but it's just not happening. She's definitely still going to Ego, which means we might... That could be interesting. See, if Ego and Nala have a litter, and then Ego and Amira have a litter. Oh, food for thought, eh? Keep a girl, keep a boy. These technically become half siblings. Then bring back in, be it it's not a Merle, Junior, and Junior turn around and go to one of these dogs and you start tightening up that Ego. I'll tell you, oh, we got an uncle to niece in some cases. See, it's all coming to me. But the most important part of the whole process is making sure we take care of the dogs, people. If we don't take care of the dogs, if we don't bet on our females, if we don't pour into these females, we won't get the results we need. And let me be very clear, as I've shown you now 3 times, every dog that I've kept, every dog that I've chosen, I could care less about the boys. I've been betting on Zara and all the work that I did with her every time. And guess what? We saw how lazy Baloo is. Baloo won't walk out the door. It's just not happening. All of her kids, highly motivated. And to be, when I say highly, I mean they're more motivated than their father. They have more athletic capabilities. They're more intuitive. They're more curious. They're more driven. They're more, respect with it. They're more loving. They are. And Zara, ironically, even though she's the craziest dog I got, she's actually super loving. Like, everybody loves Zara. You come in, cause she's on your chest. She's a loving dog. She don't like no bull crap. My homeboy Rich said, sound like somebody I know. So as I say, if you think you tough, that dog better not come in here. And she doesn't like bullies. So many things. He's just a good dog, man. God, and it's one of those things where it weighs on me, because even Chris said, you're not gonna breed her again. You know, if I don't get what I need to see, we liable to pull her out of retirement for one more. She gave me 3 breedings. But I'm gonna tell you this. She's a dog who I believe, and I'll put in perspective, because that's his mom. They're of no affiliation. Amira's not. So you take an Amira and Ego's son, which becomes her grandson, back to Zara. When I tell you motivated, I'm talking motivated. And that would make up, if I'm being clear, for the Bam Bam hiccup. He's not going to turn out. He's not. He's just not going to have it. Going to be a good house Negro, but not going to turn out. But you take one of these dogs, Zara's got tight feet, good feet. All the girls always have good feet for the most part. Baloo's the worst case scenario. And then you take this boy back to Ego's mom, aka Zara, and keep a girl, to be clear. You keep a girl off that litter. And you raise that height because Amira's tiny. You just want the biggest girl. Here you go. Technically, that's the start of a bloodline. That's the technicality. That dog off of there begins a very, 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 very real future for us. But who knows? I could just be talking out of my ass. But as the song says, we just never know what's going to happen. But I'm committed to bettering the dogs. That's it. That's all. And if these dogs, I'm not going nowhere else. I'm not going to work with nobody else. I ain't leaving my house to go talk about no dogs with nobody else. If these dogs pan out, which so far so good, there's a way to do this. That's why I didn't just rush, like, hey, do you want to fix her on the table? You had that opportunity when she just did her last breeding. I said, I don't want to make no rash decisions. I don't make no rash decisions. That means I need to see a few things first. And unfortunately, every year she doesn't breed. It raises the risk of pyometry and various things, but we got them on a tight schedule, as they say. But I guess we'll just see what happens. So for now, don't commit to any breedings. Make sure that you pour into the female side of your program. There are 1,000 boys out there that can bust a nut. Very few boys are actually going to make your dogs better. That's the truth. And especially in the case of American bullies, because people are breeding head size, all this other stuff that makes money. And that's fair too. I'm here to make better dogs. That's it. And that's all. But people, look, stay tuned. Take care of your dogs. And pace yourself, people. Patience is key.